Hi, this is Ishita Dutta, a second year law student currently interning at LEXIS and Company. So today I will be talking about the ban of Chinese apps in India. India versus China. If we talk about the foreign policy of India, the relations of neighboring countries, namely India, China, and Pakistan, which takes first place in our mind, we hear news from time to time about the deals regarding trade which happens between these countries. But besides that, Indo-China relations are always been in the headlines due to their territorial disputes. What is the ban about? On 29 June 2020, India banned 59 Chinese apps and under the section 69A of the IT Act. The famous TikTok Act was also banned as by reasoning that it is a threat to national security and has caused disturbances in one's personal privacy. The government issued an explanation that these apps are illegally exporting data to locations outside India or to other neighboring countries. It did not mention anything about the relation of these apps with China, but these apps are mostly having an origin in China or have a major part of their investment from companies which are situated in China, or we can say that these are Chinese investors. Why is this ban imposed? India may be the first country to ban Chinese apps, but it is not the first one to raise concerns about the privacy and security. The Ministry of Information Technology has received many complaints from various sources, including several reports about misuse of some mobile apps available on Android and on iOS devices platforms for stealing and private data in an unauthorized manner to servers, and that to have been checked when have locations outside India. The government said in a statement that the compilation of these data is mining and profiling by elements is hostile to national security and defense of India, which ultimately has a very deep impact upon the sovereignty and the integrity of India, which is also a very deep and immediate concern which requires emergency measures. That was the major reason why the government had imposed ban and disallowed the usage of certain apps used in both mobile and non-mobile internet devices. The government spokesperson said that the Google's Play Store and Apple's iOS store have been directed to remove these apps. What is China's protest on the ban in India? China says that India's actions could be a violation of the World Trade Organization rules, and reacting to this development, Chinese embassy in New Delhi said that India's measure selectively and discriminatorily aims at certain Chinese apps on ambiguous and far-fetched grounds, runs against fair and transparent procedure requirements, abuses and national security exceptions, and suspected of violating the WTO rules. It also goes against the general trend of international trade and e-commerce, the interest and the market competition in India. So Chinese could file a formal complaint at the World Trade Organization. Indian apps came after ban. So the Indian apps like Chinagar, Mitro and Trell have been benefiting from these Chinese app ban. On June 29, the founder of India made video sharing platform Chingaris, Sumit Ghosh tweeted, around 1 lakh people downloaded this per hour. So guys, please be patient. We are working on the servers, getting things up and running as soon as possible. Chingari competes with China's popular app called TikTok. Sharing. The app recorded a staggering 3.5 millions in less than 48 hours of the government's imposition of the ban, which was also a big step to encourage these Indian apps. What is the impact of these Chinese apps in India? There was a very positive impact, which was clearly visible amongst the Indian crowd. There was enhancement of Indian apps was found a lot. If we take example of a gaming app named PUBG, it is mostly used by Indian, but when it was banned, it gave an advantage to the other gaming apps. So in China, China is India's largest trade partner after the US, and our dependence on China extends well beyond the technical space. The app ban will certainly have an impact on the holding of the companies. For example, if we take an example of the world famous app TikTok, when it comes to TikTok, 30% of the total people using this entertainment app come from India, and this naturally harms its parent company. The impact on China's economy will obviously be negative, but as we know that we can't predict other nations' economy as exact. Also, while if we had look in India, there was the suitable response to the Chinese border aggression. So since India will not like to physically engage China, a bigger and a more powerful enemy, this virtual response is a suitable reply. There are opportunities for India entrepreneurships. China has protected and promoted its own entrepreneurships by banning global apps and softwares for decades. So a quick glance at the mobile apps and websites banned in China throws up the names such as WhatsApp, Google, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Netflix, YouTube, BBC, the New York Times, or even Quota. This ban provides opportunity to Indian app makers, signals innovative thinking by Modi government. The ban is aimed at the local audience, an audience which is increasingly baying for blood after the Chinese incursion. To that extent, the ban will also help to address some of their need for action by the government. So then what about the data security? India's Ministry of Information and Technology has said that the ban was the result of many complaints from various sources about apps that were stealing privacy and data, were transmitting users' data in an unauthorized manner. Many of these Chinese apps have been linked to these controversies over data privacy and have been accused of sharing sensitive information with the Chinese government. The US senators have even called for an investigation into TikTok, which fiercely rejects such claims. So in conclusion, we can see that this is a huge step taken by the Indian government to make India an independent country and promote vocal for local and make in India programs, which were initiated to make India a self-reliant country, which was dependent on China for most of its things. This step was taken after an intensive investigation on by the Ministry of India. Apart from India, countries like Australia, Germany, the United Kingdom, and even the United States of America have also raised privacy and security concerns with Chinese apps and adopted strict cybersecurity protocols for protection. This step will help Indian companies and startups to make a new customers, and it will increase its user base. Many Indian companies have already started working on to build alternatives for the banned apps. This will also help in developing of the IT sector in India, and the main aim of banning these apps were to keep the critical data of the users safe within the Indian borders. The RBI convinced many companies like Paytm, WhatsApp, Google to set up their cloud storages databases in India so that the data can be kept within Indian borders only, which was earlier being stored outside India in cloud databases. So this move will bring more investment to the data centers in India, and this step is a kind of a revenge taken by the Indian government from the Chinese government for not handling the sensitive and critical of the users properly and mishandling the data of the users. India is in a need of a proper data protection law so that the next time someone will have to think twice before misusing the data of the users. And the Personal Data Protection PDP Bill of 2019 was the first step taken by the Indian government to domestically legislate on the issue of data protection. Thus, the ban of Chinese apps have brought into light many issues about data privacy and securities. Being a responsible citizen of India, we should all stop using these apps and support the decision of our government. And we should also make India a stronger country, both economically and politically too. Thank you so much.